months, the air war over Eastern Europe has followed a grim rhythm. But the night of May 18th broke that pattern. What unfolded wasn't just another exchange of long-range fire. It was a synchronized, multi-layered assault by Russian forces on the Dnipropetrovsk region, and simultaneously, the largest Ukrainian drone strike on Russian soil since the conflict began. What makes this night different is not the technology, but the math. Both sides claimed victory. Both sides presented numbers. But when you strip away the press releases and look at what is physically possible given current air defense densities, a different picture emerges, one that Moscow used to its advantage, and one that Kyiv may have dramatically overestimated. According to data from Ukrainian radio technical troops, Russian forces launched a total of 546 aerial attack means. Not all were weapons. The breakdown is revealing. 14 Iskander-M ballistic missiles, 8 Iskander-K cruise missiles, and a staggering 524 drones. But the drone count is where the operation's real design emerges. Alongside the familiar Shaheds and Herberas, the Russians deployed Italmas long-range drones and, crucially, what Ukraine calls Parody imitation drones. These are not decoys in the traditional sense. They are electronic doppelgangers, cheap radar signature replicas designed to overwhelm air defense tracking and exhaust interceptor stocks. The main axis was Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, with Dnipro city as the primary pressure point. But the strikes also bled into Odessa, Chernihiv, Kharkiv, Kirovohrad, and Kherson. This was not random. This was a distributed load, forcing Ukrainian defenders to light up their radars across multiple sectors simultaneously. By 8:30 a.m. in the morning, the Ukrainian Air Force released preliminary figures. They claimed to have shot down or destroyed 507 targets. Specifically, 4 Iskander-K cruise missiles and 503 drones. That would represent a success rate of nearly 93%. On paper, that is extraordinary. In practice, that claim requires scrutiny. The Ukrainian military has a well-documented pattern of releasing high interception numbers, particularly during combined attacks. But here is the physical reality. The current air defense umbrella over Ukraine is a patchwork of Soviet-era S-300s, NASAMs, Iris-T, and man-portable systems like Stinger. None of these were designed for saturation swarms of 500-plus targets, especially when over a third of those targets are low-radar cross-section imitation drones that travel at varying altitudes. No air defense system in the world, not even a fully integrated Aegis or S-400 network, has demonstrated a 93% kill ratio against a mixed ballistic cruise drone salvo of this size in a wartime environment. The math simply does not hold. The Ukrainian statement noted that 18 missiles and 16 drones impacted 34 locations, with debris from downed drones falling on 11 additional sites. But even that admission, 34 impact locations, suggests a far lower interception rate than claimed. Each impact represents a target that was not stopped. So what did the Russian strike achieve? In Dnipropetrovsk, the primary effects were against 3 categories: energy infrastructure, military logistics installations, and residential areas. Ukrainian authorities acknowledged all 3, a rare admission of damage to non-military sites. In Odessa, an incident stood out. A Chinese-owned ship approaching the port was struck. No crew deaths were reported, but the vessel sustained damage. Neither Beijing nor Moscow commented officially, but the message was clear. Maritime approaches to Ukrainian ports remain contested. What is absent from most Western reporting is the likely Russian targeting logic. The Iskander-M ballistic missiles, 14 of them, were almost certainly aimed at hardened military targets, command bunkers, railway transfer points, or HIMARS storage facilities. Their speed and trajectory make them nearly impossible to intercept with current Ukrainian systems. The fact that Ukraine claims only 4 cruise missiles were shot down and 0 ballistic missiles is in itself an indirect confirmation that the most dangerous weapons got through. Simultaneously, while Russian drones were over Dnipro, Ukraine launched its own offensive. This was not a retaliation. It was a pre-planned, massed drone strike, the largest against internationally recognized Russian territory since 2022. Russia's Ministry of Defense claimed to have intercepted or destroyed more than 550 Ukrainian drones across more than a dozen regions. But the key word is intercepted or destroyed. Video evidence shows a different reality. Drones flying at low altitude over apartment complexes in Moscow, striking residential buildings and hitting energy infrastructure. One verified clip shows a drone impacting a checkpoint near the Moscow oil refinery. Another shows a residential high-rise in a Moscow suburb with a floor partially collapsed. The official Russian toll: 4 dead, more than a dozen wounded. From a Russian perspective, this is a strategic discomfort. The Kremlin has spent 18 months assuring its urban population that the war is far from Moscow. The May 18th strikes proved otherwise. But unlike Ukraine, Russia did not release inflated interception numbers. Instead, officials acknowledged that some drones got through, a tacit admission that massed drone swarms are difficult to stop even for dense air defenses. Here is the analytical bottom line. 2 things can be true at once. First, Russia's combined strike on Dnipropetrovsk achieved operational effect. The use of 524 drones, many of them cheap imitations, saturated Ukrainian coverage. The claim of 93% interception is not supported by the physics of radar track management or the number of confirmed impacts. A more realistic assessment, based on open-source intelligence and past performance, would put the successful interception rate between 55 and 65%, with ballistic missiles near zero. Second, Ukraine's retaliatory drone strike on Russia was tactically successful. Some of penetrated air defenses around Moscow, hit energy and residential targets, and caused casualties. The Russian claim of 550 intercepts is itself likely inflated, but Moscow did not hide the fact that damage occurred, which lends it more credibility than Kyiv's claim of a near-total repel. The night of May 18th will not be a turning point, but it is a milestone. It confirms that both sides can now launch simultaneous, massed aerial strikes. It confirms that defensive claims from both capitals should be treated with skepticism. And it confirms something else. The imitation drone and the cruise missile are now equals in this war. No air defense system is perfect. The only honest number in any press release is the one that admits what got through. Until now, that's all for today, and thanks for watching.